These runners at the gates for the X-Files 1400, sponsored by Network 10. Third event on Foster's Melbourne Cup Day 1996. Withdrawals here, 2 Morangi, 7 Flying Flight and 9 Autumn Moments. So we have a field of 16, and there is a magnificent view from up above. Roy Higgins joins me now. These are some of the best racing pictures I've ever seen in this country, Roy, from the blimp up there, the Whitman's Lightship, and also the tracking vehicle that we've got with the field.
This is truly unbelievable, you know, you get a side like that. Wouldn't the stewards love to have one of these over every racetrack?
Yeah.
You know, they've got a head on, a tail on, and both side-on views. Now they'll have an overhead view. They can tell exactly what you're doing. We've got a pretty open race on our hands here for these mares. This 1,400-metre barrier, keep in mind, at Flemington, 1,600-metre barriers are tricky barriers. They're very close to a turn, and it can be awkward if you get drawn out, and especially if you'd caught 2 or 3 wide around the big sweeping turn. I've taken the risk on a couple of barriers here because they do have good jocks on board. I've marked number 4, Fabulous Frisco on top. Excellent win first up at Caulfield. Has trained on, jumping up to the 14. Has drawn barrier 14, but Damien Oliver on board. 3, Virgil. Another one, Stephen King on board here. Drawn well. Will get the box seat. Does look very well. 4, Escada, one from Pat Hyland's camp here. Darren Beedman on board this one. You note I've marked all top jockeys when they're drawn out here. Does look very well. Number 8, Top Ratio. Another filly, or another mare that did look well. I marked them 4, 3, 14 and 8 for race 3 on the program.
And they're getting set now, moving into the gates. Let's go up and join Dan Malicki and Gary Willis.
Thank you, Pete. They're getting close to a start here. Very open affair for the third event, the X-Files 1400. And the tote favourite is number 3, Vigil, at $5.10. Fabulous Frisco, $6.20. Escada, $6.40, and Amber is showing $7 for the win. As they get close to the start, I think there's a host of chances, Gary.
Oh, definitely. It's a really open race, but most of the races all day are like this. But I did like the look of number 1, Amber, ridden by Mick Tippman. It's about time Mick had a bit of a change of luck. He did ride a couple of winners at Caulfield, but the luck just hasn't gone his way, so it mightn't this. Fabulous Frisco looked very well. And one over of Pat Hyland train, number 14, Escada, ridden by Darren Beedman. It has drawn 16. It needs a bit of luck from out there.
Mark Riley trained Innocent Affair, one with a chance. He does a great job with his horses, Mark Riley. He really turns them out fantastic.
Yes.
Former Group 1 winning jockey, turned his hand at training and is having a great run. Is already a Group 1 winning trainer. And we're close to a start as High Creek goes up now. And they are set to break for the X-Files 1400. Race 3, Flemington on Cup Day. The light is on. Gates crash back, they're off and running. Wild Violet dropped out to the tail early with Esther Kelly. A mad charge for the early lead. Kaylee Princess is looking for it. Innocent Affairs going to race Hendry. Out further was Fabulous Frisco going forward, and then came Country Walk. And Top Ratio was also handy in the early part from Cleopatra's Girl, just in behind them from Amber. It's about midfield. Escada trapped out wide around Vigil, and they were followed by High Creek. Behind them, Yelgan Dawn, followed by Apollo Lane, a length and a half to Impulsive. Around and over, has drifted back to second last, and Wild Violet 2 lengths away last. Esther Kelly will settle down about 5th last. 800 metres to go now. Kaylee Princess, 3/4 of a length to Fabulous Frisco and Top Ratio. Escada out 4 wide, then Innocent Affair on the inside of Country Walk. Amber out 3 wide. Behind those was Cleopatra's Girl. High Creek out 4 wide to the turn. Vigil and Amber behind a wall of horses as they turned around and over, switched out wide, and well back Impulsive with Esther Kelly, Apollo Lane and Wild Violet. Down to the 300, Kaylee Princess joined by Fabulous Frisco. A length and a half to Innocent Affair. Country Walk running a race, and then Escada at the 250. Fabulous Frisco in front. Innocent Affair coming at it from Country Walk, and then came Vigil. It's Fabulous Frisco a length in front, trying hard. Innocent Affair, Country Walk, Vigil running on. Fabulous Frisco just in front. Innocent Affair coming at it. Fabulous Frisco finding something though, and just won. Fabulous Frisco's won it from Innocent Affair. In third home was Country Walk from Vigil, and close up was Cleopatra's Girl from Yelgan Dawn. Wild Violet made up ground from Kaylee Princess and Amber. Escada Impulsive, then Apollo Lane. They were followed in by High Creek, and then around and over Top Ratio, and Esther Kelly pulled up over the winning post.
Well, Dan, I'd say that's why Damien Oliver's such a great jockey. He drew 14 on that horse, bounced it out, had it over running over on one off the fence after they'd gone about 200 metres. And, you know, he's got that great ability to be able to lift a horse getting close to the line.
Second horse looked a bit green. It wanted to duck in. I noticed the jockey Grant Cooksley had to stop riding it at least once, probably twice in the last 300.
Yes, and that was the difference between success and failure.
And Third Country Walk was a terrific run at massive odds.
Here they are here, Dan, and you've got Fabulous Frisco on the fence, ridden by Damien Oliver, and the one on the outside, Innocent Affair, getting home very well. And he just has to stop riding or just move in a fraction.
Jim Conlon, the winning trainer, he is in the mounting yard in the winner's stall with Peter Donegan.
Yes, and it's a delighted Jim Conlon. You had some misfortune at Caulfield a couple of weeks ago with Red Rhythm, but this, in some ways, I suppose, makes up for it.
Well, look, it was very sad that day. I mean, she won that day, and it really took the gloss off the day. He's a lovely horse, Red, but with racing, you've got to expect it sometimes.
Gee, they've moved along in that too, 122.5.
Yeah, look, I was actually going to run her in the Group 3 race today over 1,400 metres, which she only had 50 and a half in. But she was going to be balloted out, and it would have been terrific for her. She's a Bletchingley mare. It would have made, you know, her very valuable mare if she could have got into it. But she was going to get balloted out, and anyway, this is a good consolation.
Nice to have the services of a bloke called D. Oliver too. He can ride a bit.
Yeah, he sits on all right. He does.
What about the barrier? Was that a concern?
Yeah, that was a big concern, and we did think there was a couple on her inside, like Kaylee Princess and around and over, that were going to maybe cart her across, and it worked out that way. So, you know, it's very good.
Well done, Jimmy.
All right, thanks very much.
Jim Conlon, the winning trainer with Fabulous Frisco. Let's take shades of 12 months ago. Here's John Letts and Damien Oliver.
Yeah, Damien, this is the first time I've interviewed you, I think, since the Remus last year.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I hope we can do it again later, John.
Well, mate, you drew 14 and you decided to go forward.
Yes, the 1,400 metre start there at always suits horses up racing up near the lead, so she likes to race that way, so we just let her roll forward.
She got there pretty easy.
Yeah, she travelled really well there.
The good part about her was that in the straight there was a few challenges, but she kept fighting back, didn't she?
She fought on really strongly. She was probably had enough there, about 100 out, but she dug deep and fought them off.
Damien, you think 14's about her limit?
I think that's about it, John, yeah.
She's run 122, you know.
Geez, that's a good effort,
It's a good effort. Damien, good luck, and good luck for the big one later in the day, and I really think, personally, I'll be back here interviewing you again in about 2 hours.
Thanks, John. Can I just say hello to my mum, because I didn't have a chance to ring her this morning. Hi, Mum.
Well, I'm sure she'll be watching, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Good luck, mate.
Damien Oliver, who can now afford to make phone calls to his mother. The numbers after race 3 were 4, 10 and 18. The winner, Fabulous Frisco, ridden by Damien Oliver. And isn't it great to see him back and riding in top form, and maybe more to come, as Letsy suggested. Innocent Affair, Grant Cooksley second. Third placing going to Country Walk, ridden by Brent Thompson. So the numbers there, 4, 10 and 18. Damien Oliver getting a great hand from the crowd. Very smart time of 122.5. They're coming back to scale now. We're about to take a break, and we'll be back for the correct weight signal, take dividends, and the presentation after the X-Files 1400 very shortly.
Cup Day 1996. And there's another shot, I think, that must be from the airship, from the Whitman's Jockeys airship. The Maribyrnong River, that's a good way to come. You might have seen the people having a fabulous party on the way here this morning. And they're all here. Just saw Dracula a minute ago. I've seen the Flintstones. I've seen all sorts of people. And now what we're after is correct weight. Here's Paddy Payne. Okay, Mr. Gleeson over to his stand.
Numbers have been confirmed. 4, 10, 18, 3, 13, 5.
Correct weight. There is correct weight. Now, we still have a problem with the computer. Our apologies, and Tabcorp's apologies too, but it's having a problem getting the dividends up. But there's the winner of the X-Files 1400. But let's go to Danny Malecki anyway. He might be able to give you some idea.
Yes, Tim, on the second race, some of the dividends are coming through. The winner was China Express. This was race 2. It returns for the win, $13.90 and $4 even for the place. Dead heating for second, Greygo, $1.50, and number 14, Richland, at $1.90. Now, there were 2 Quinellas. Remember, there was a dead heat. 4 and 2 returns $15.90, and the Quinella 4 and 14, 19 even. The running double 5 and 4, $59.10. We still await the trifecta dividends and the complete rundown of totes on race 3.
All right, thank you, Danny. Well, the winner of the X-Files 1400 was no mystery, that's for sure. Beautifully ridden, as usual, by D. Oliver. Fabulous Frisco. Here's Rob Gaylard.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Presentation time, the X-Files 1400. No mystery, as we were just told, about who the winner of it is, but representing the VRC, Mr. Doug Reed, OAM. To begin our presentations, would you please welcome Director of Network 10, Mr. Stephen Scala.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, the Honourable Sir William Dean, Governor-General of Australia, and Lady Dean, Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Jeff Kennett, the Chairman of the Victoria Racing Club, Mr. David Burke, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Network 10 has a happy 18-year history in showcasing and promoting to the world Australia's premier week of racing. Our association with the Victoria Racing Club is serious and is committed to ensuring the growth, prosperity and continuing excitement at this great event. Congratulations to the winner of the X-Files 1400, Fabulous Frisco, the jockey Damien Oliver, the trainer Jim Conlon, and of course the winning owners, Mr. NJ, Mr. DJ and Mrs. M. Turnbull. On behalf of Network 10, it gives me great pleasure to present the X-Files 1400 trophy to Mr. Peter Turnbull on behalf of the owners of Fabulous Frisco. Thank you.
And thank you, the X-Files 1400. The Melbourne Cup is race 7 today. It's at 3:20 and it's rushing up at us at a rate of knots. We'll take a commercial break and then come back with so much more from the big day. Festivities well underway here. I'm sure they are where you are. In fact, about now, I would imagine lunch is being served. You're having a couple of quiet ones, wherever you're watching the Melbourne Cup from, and just getting yourselves ready as we count down to the Melbourne Cup of '96. That's how long it is away. Just over, 2.5 hours. 3:20, race 7. You know, in 1861, Peter Donegan, I think Archer won about £1,400 and a hand-beaten gold watch. Today, 2.2 million. First place getter, nearly 1.5. It is some race.
Yes, and he deserved every cent of it, Tim, because he walked down from Sydney to get it. Well, so they say. There is some dispute about that, but never mind. I'm sure the winner today will deserve every bit of the huge dollars that are on offer for the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Let's go on to race 4, Jen. And this is the Vic Health 1000. The scratchings are numbers 1, 3, 5 and 11, so we have a feel of 4 going.
Pete, I like number 12 here, Heads I Laugh. This is a very, very fast horse. His last run was in the Moya Stakes. He got too far back. That was at Moonee Valley. But now he's back against his own age group. I do think he'll go very, very well, and he's drawn the right part of the track as well. Number 6, Buraton, also drawn out there in barrier 17. He looks pretty classy to me. And for third, I put in number 2, Bialia. He's back against his own age group as well, a very fast horse. So that's my selections, 12, 6 and 2.
All right, Buraton for me, number 6. I think down the outside he'll be very hard to beat. He's drawn the right barrier. His Sydney form looks good. Now, the tote problem has been rectified. We'll come to that in a moment on race number 3 on the card, and there they are now. And the winner, Fabulous Frisco, has paid $6.30 and $2.20. Innocent Affair, $3.70. Country Walk has paid $24.70. The Running Double paid $90.10. The Quinella, $54.50. And the Trifecta paid $6,613.70 with correct weight on the third event. They are the official dividends, Tim.
Thank you, PD. What a beautiful lady. The place is absolutely full of them today, and they go to so much trouble to look their absolute sparkling best on Melbourne Cup Day. And we're just ecstatically happy for the VRC that it's a beautiful day as it is, and a huge crowd here. We'll find out later how many, but it's got to be between 90 and 100,000. They're just absolutely everywhere when you go outside. Well, now, Timmy Bailey, speaking of outside, we've not seen for some time, which always causes me some concern, I have to tell you. So let's find out what he's doing. I hope he's minding his manners.
Thank you, Timmy Webster, and please point your ears this way because Bailey has found a world authority on good manners. Please welcome Louise Percy. Hi, Louise. How are you?
I'm fine.
Is Melbourne well-mannered for this wonderful cup?
I think it is. I think, well, apart from the fact that it's such an exciting day, everybody seems to be on their best behaviour so far.
Yes, it is only early. Can I ask you this? You're judging fashions on the field, but there's much more to it than just colour and the outfits we're wearing. There's poise and style.
Absolutely. And not only that, you know, when I'm talking to the contestants, I'm talking to them, seeing how much eye contact they've got, seeing how well they can juggle a glass of champagne and an intelligent conversation while still looking beautiful.
What is the look we're after this year, and how should we be acting?
Well, I think elegance and obviously your deportment and your gracious behaviour should absolutely complement that.
All right. I'm a walking target, but how have I scrubbed up?
I think you look great. I mean, you've got colour, you've got elegance, but you've got a little bit of originality which makes it just you, so that's perfect.
All right, now, what about when we get a little bit tired and emotional later in the day and it's a bit hard to hold the champagne glass the right way? What should we do?
Well, don't spill it on anybody. And if you get to that stage and you see a camera coming towards you, duck.
Duck? Timothy Webster, there you go. No late afternoon crosses from young Tim Bailey. Thank you, Louise, very much.
Nice bit.
Take note, Webster. I have, Timothy. Thank you very much. But in here, we're very pristine, very well behaved and very sartorial. Apart from the fact that we've backed 2 winners up here out of 3 races, so later on it could be very dangerous, I can tell you. Sandra Sully in our marquee has caught up with a couple who I know would be having a fabulous time, Gary and Joanna Sweet.
It's amazing who pops into the 10 marquee. One of Australia's favourite actors, multi-award-winning actor Gary Sweet, who's just joined 10's new drama series, Big Sky, and his lovely wife, Joanna. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the Melbourne Cup.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Now, you've recorded a couple of episodes of Big Sky. The viewers aren't going to see that till early next year, but just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's very hard to categorise, Sandra. It's, I like to think of it as a romantic comedy action drama thriller musical.
A musical?
Yeah, it's
in planes.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I guess the closest thing, the closest American show to it is something like Northern Exposure. It's a kind of...
It's quirky.
Yeah, it's quirky and, you know, it's kind of kooky.
And you like comedy? There's obviously, you know, it's all about timing if you're going to deliver those sorts of lines. So is that a challenge for you?
Yeah, it's a challenge because I have absolutely no comedic timing at all, but I'm getting there and I think it'll probably, it'll get better the longer we go. No, it's a terrific show.
Joanna, your first cup, what are your impressions so far?
It's fantastic. It's just so much colour and you know, I could sit here all day and watch the fashions go by, but everyone's in a great mood, so I'm really enjoying it.
Well, look, thanks for joining us today and have a wonderful day and a wonderful cup week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, and Joanna, I assure you it is fabulous to sit here all day and just watch the passing parade and watch this magnificent race on a great day. A break. That little button says it all. The Melbourne Cup of 1996. Only 3 horses have ever won this twice. Archer, 61 and 62. Rain Lover, 1968 and 9. Think Big, 74, 75. Some say Doremus can do it again. And some say Nothing Like a Dame can do it. You know, he's been set for the Melbourne Cup since he ran second in last year's big race. Spent 12 months getting back here. And back then, part owner Helen Dalton wasn't so sure about running him as a 3-year-old. But this year, well, now that's another story.
When people talk of horsepower, they usually think of speed and strength. But in the case of Nothing Like a Dame, horsepower is also the ability to send a TAB broke and to turn a racecourse into a cabaret. When the stayer burst onto the scene just over 12 months ago, winning the Spring Champion Stakes and the Victoria Derby, and then running second in the Melbourne Cup, he won the hearts of all Australian racegoers. But in particular, he massaged the hip pocket nerve of coal miners in the Hunter Valley. You see, part owners Helen Dalton and John Hodge are coal mining proprietors, and they're happy to share their success with their workers.
The miners in the Hunter Valley, the coal miners, the backbone of this country, I'll have everybody remember, regard not only Nothing Like a Dane, but all of the other horses that John Hodge and I race as being their own personal property. And that's fine. He's got an enormous following. All of our horses do have.
The strength of the following is such that when Nothing Like a Dane wins a race, he usually sends the local TAB in search of backup funds.
That'd be about right too. You don't back anything else in the Hunter Valley. It's very important.
Helen Dalton has been involved in horses all her life, and her enthusiasm for the game is obvious.
Once people get horses on the brain, it's an incurable disease. Even if you don't have anything to do with them for years and years and years and years, the disease never goes away. Once you've got it, you're stuck with it. I just love them. Racing is an enormous leveller, and it's also exciting, it's accessible, it's interesting, and it provides people with a reason for being.
Last year, the Dane became the first 3-year-old in more than 2 decades to run a place in the Melbourne Cup, and Helen reckons she knows why he didn't win.
He was 3, it was raining, the horse ran half the Melbourne Cup stone blind with his eyes full of mud, and Doremus ran faster. That's why he didn't win.
But maybe there might have been another hidden reason.
Well, that's only a theory, but when we sang There Is Nothing Like a Dane after the Derby, the horse was so worried that John Hodge and I were going to sing again that he said, no way.
Now, you can tell there's a lady who absolutely loves being involved with horses, and she's right. It is a disease, and once you start liking them, you'll like them for the rest of your life. They're just absolutely beautiful animals. And Peter Donegan, as they come down to you, yes, you're right. There was another horse that won 2 cups, but not in successive years.
That's correct, Tim. Yes, Peter Pan in 32 and 34. So, yes, you're right. Doremus is attempting to join a very select band of horses, those 3 that have won back-to-back Melbourne Cups. But he will become the 5th horse in that amount of time, if he can do it, to win 2 Melbourne Cups. And we're getting ever closer, not far now, before the running of the great race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup, at 20 minutes after 3. But the immediate matters at hand, Jen. The Vic Health 1000, we've got the scratchings of 1 Armadale, which won here on Derby Day, 3 Birra, 5 Brave Bulldog and 11 Cotton on Fly. The rider for number 14, Lucky Rule, is Jason Holder. Number 14, Lucky Rule, Jason Holder, and number 16, Eastern Horizon, the rider is Greg Childs. So a field of 14 here, and we're going to start off our look at the runners here with number 2, Bialia, one trained by Lee Friedman and to be ridden by Stephen King, and he finished at the tail of the field in the Scalacci at his last start.
Yes, a little bit too tough for him in the Scalacci there, Pete. He is, in fact, a half-brother to Scalacci, so I wonder whether or not he ran in that because of that. He's back to his own age group here. I would think he's going to go a lot better. He has won down the straight here at Flemington before, so I'd respect his chances.
We'll see number 4 to be ridden by Patrick Payne, trained by Tommy Hughes Jr. here at Flemington. One at Moonee Valley, that was back in June and hasn't started since the 6th of July. How did he look fresh to you?
Well, fresh, Pete, I just wonder whether or not this horse will be looking for a little bit further than the 1,000 metres. I tend to think he will be, but certainly a watch, see what he does here today and maybe for a race later on.
I'm pretty keen about the chances of number 6, Buraton, to be ridden by Brian York. He's drawn the right side of the track in gate number 17, although I think, as we saw before, there's not a great deal of difference, not so much of a pronounced difference as there was on Saturday in the 2 sides of the track, but he's only had 4 starts and he's won 2 of them.
I think he's pretty smart, this fellow. He led and he tried very hard at Randwick in a very good race. He's nicely drawn. I like him out there in barrier 17, and I think he's one of the better chances.
What about the filly here, Jen? Number 7, Jade Tiara, trained by John Marr, who's already tasted success on both Derby Day and here on Cup Day. But barrier number 1 is the big worry.
Yes, well, this horse got run off the track on the turn and should have won at Sandown, and then was wide all the way at Moonee Valley and fought on very well. She's a very, very good filly, and she's unbeaten fresh as well. So I would consider her if you're taking a trifecta. I think she's the best of the fillies, no doubt.
The 17-year-old apprentice, Brent Stanley, who'll be attracting a lot of attention later in the day when he rides Arctic Scent, is warming up here on Baby Boomer, number 9. one trained by David Hall at Epsom and finished down the track at Morfordville at its last start, but that was pretty close to 6 months ago.
Yes, resuming here, and I would respect her fresh form, actually. She won first up at Sandown in her very first race start, only had the 4 starts, and she's in a very astute stable with David Hall, only 51 kilograms here, and I do think she's a chance in the race.
Also resuming is this flashy chestnut in number 10, and that is Crafty Luck. Eddie Wilkinson, the rider for Peter Hayes. And a perfect record, 1 start, 1 win at Victoria Park, but back on the 23rd of March.
Yes, that was down the straight too at Victoria Park, and she was down the outside fence. I think she looks quite promising, but she has drawn barrier 4 here. So on the strength of that, I'll leave her there with a place chance in this race.
Heads I Laugh, number 12, is the one you've tipped on top. Darren Gauci is the rider and John Hawkes is the trainer. What are the reasons that you think he can win?
Well, at the last start, he was in the Moir Stakes there, and he was just outclassed at weight for H there. But if you go back a few starts ago, he won 3 in a row, and he's a very, very fast horse, nicely drawn in barrier 18, in a good stable with John Hawkes, and of course Darren Gauci on board with 51 kilos. I think he's got a lot in his favour.
So Heads I Laugh, number 12, is your selection to beat what?
Number 6, Buraton, and number 2, Bialia.
Okay, 12, 6 and 2 from Jen, and I've gone for Buraton, number 6. I like the look of him in the yard too before the race, and he's a bit of a tip around on track. The map shows that they do come down the straight 1,000 metres again, and once again we emphasise that it would appear that the outside of the track is a little quicker than the inside, maybe quite not as pronounced as it was on Saturday, but outside barriers here are certainly, you would think, an advantage. As far as the tips go from the panel, Heads I Laugh from Jennifer, Buraton from myself and John Letts, and Bialia from Richard Friedman. He had to tip it. It's one of the stable. That's the situation before the 4th, the Vic Health 1000, and it's over 1,000 metres. Starting time is 5 minutes after the 1. Look at this beautiful scene on a sunny Melbourne Cup day. We've been waiting for one for a lot of years now. We've got one today, and the action is just magnificent. It'll continue after this break. And they're on their way to the gates for race 4, Vic Health 1000, as the name would suggest, 1,000 metres the journey, 1:05 the starting time, and we are running a little late. So they're just going up to the stalls now. One bit of riding information to report, and that is in race 8, number 17, lunchtime special, the rider is Stephen King. Race 8, number 17, lunchtime special, the rider Stephen King, replacing Rodney Griffiths in the second last event on the program today. Well, Roy Higgins has joined me now in the mounting yard to take a look at these runners. What did you make of them, Roy?
Pete, I suppose we're going to have to look for the outside draw here. Horses coming down the outside. Did like the look of number 2, Bialia. He has won down this track from the Freedman's camp. 2 runs from a spell. He's ready. He'll run quick. Marked him on top of number 6, Burition from Newcastle. Good type this. Looked excellent going out. 12, Heads I Laugh will run quick down the outside. And 7, Jade Tiara. Look for her to run home late in the race. I marked them 2, 6, 12 and 7 for race 4 on the program.
Thank you, Roy. Roy Higgins with the compliments of Sport 927 with his thoughts on race number 4. Let's go down to the betting ring. Tim Gossage, what can you report?
Peter, they really only want one, and that's Buraton. It is a clear-cut favourite. The only other 2 horses under double-figure odds are Bialia and Heads I Laugh. And there's been some good money at each-way odds for Jade Tiara in about 3 points, just touching double-figure odds. As far as the Cup's concerned, late money for Nothing Like a Dane, and they're still coming for the Bandit.
Okay, Tim, thank you. And we have another riding change now. Another riding change. Race 6, number 14, Marachant. The rider here is Noel Harris, replacing Glenn Voss. Race 6, number 14, Marachant. The rider being N. Harris now, replacing Glenn Voss. So there you have some of the fashions on display here. We always have weird and wonderful fashions on display on Melbourne Cup Day. Derby being more the elegant day. And certainly the ladies have gone to a lot of trouble with their hats, and no doubt they will come Thursday, Oaks Day. Well, I'm happy to say that one person who generally joins us here at Melbourne Cup Day, but for a different reason, he's normally very busy, but I think he's visiting today, and now based in Hong Kong. David Hayes, nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
You enjoying the day?
Oh, absolutely. It's nice not having to work.
How are things going in Hong Kong?
Had a good start. A few too many seconds. We've had 7 winners in 16 seconds, so it's been a little bit frustrating, but the stable's starting to go well now. So,
do you enjoy the lifestyle over there?
Oh, it's very good. Of course, when you get back at Melbourne Cup time, you love to be home, but on the whole, I'm very happy with the move, and I think Oliver is as well. Damien, who's there with me.
Yeah, how's he enjoying it?
Very much so. You wouldn't believe it. He got a lot of flack in the press. They say he was a lups-up rubbish rider, which we all know is totally wrong.
Yeah.
But he's starting to ride the winners now, and I'm sure he'll become a very popular rider over there.
Now, can Peter go on and win his first Melbourne Cup with this to Dad this afternoon?
It'll be a big thrill because Dad trained a winner for Sheikh Hamdan, and I won with Jern, and if Peter did, it'll be quite an unusual feat. The camp's quietly confident, and the horses hit form at the right time, so I'm sure he'll run well.
10 years ago today it was that those colours were carried on at Tallaght, so maybe that's an omen.
Yes, time flies when you're having fun. It just seems like the other day.
You are having fun. Good to see you.
Great. Nice to be here.
David Hayes, who's back from Hong Kong and enjoying Melbourne Cup Day, as is the big crowd here.